Hi everyone. In this lesson, we will learn scientific application of slow and controlled release fertilizers. We are honored to have Yu Yifa, Vice General Manager of Nanning Hanhe Biotechnology Co., Ltd., Vice Chairman of Chinese Society of Plant Nutrition and Fertilizer and New Type Fertilizer Committee. He's going to talk about application of slow and controlled release fertilizers. Hello, Mr. Yu. It is said that your company has done very well in slow and controlled release fertilizers. Could you introduce it to us?
Okay. Slow and controlled release fertilizer is a new type of fertilizers to solve the problem of low fertilizer utilization rate, especially nitrogen fertilizer caused by the loss of nutrients caused by the release of some available fertilizers which is not synchronized with crop uptake. Slow release fertilizers and controlled release fertilizers are both fertilizers that have a longer effect than quick release fertilizers. In this sense, there is no strict distinction between slow release fertilizers and controlled release fertilizers. However, in terms of the mechanism and effect of controlling nutrient release rate, the slow release fertilizer and the controlled release fertilizer are different.
What's the difference between slow release fertilizer and controlled release fertilizer?
Slow release means through chemical or physical processing. The release rate of nutrients in conventional fertilizers is much lower than the original natural release rate of the nutrient. Controlled release refers to the artificial chemical or physical processing that results in the release of nutrients from fertilizers at a predetermined rate. The nutrient release pattern of this controlled release fertilizer corresponds to the nutrient uptake needs of the target plant.
Okay. How do slow and controlled release fertilizers compare to conventional fertilizers?
Fine, let's first talk about the characteristics of slow-release fertilizer. Firstly, the solubility of the first slow-release fertilizer in water is small, and the release of nutrient elements in soil is slow, which reduces the loss of nutrient elements. Secondly, the long-term stability of the fertilizer can continuously supply the nutrient demand of the plant throughout the production period. Thirdly, due to the slow release of fertilizer, a large application of fertilizer will not cause the soil to become too salty and seedling burnt. Fourthly, it reduces the number and frequency of fertilization and saves costs. Now let's talk about the characteristics of controlled release fertilizer. The fertilizer efficiency utilization rate is high and can guarantee the utilization rate above 80% basically.
What is our regular fertilizer utilization rate?
Nutrients from conventional fertilizers are lost through air evaporation, underground infiltration, and surface water flushing. Less than 30% is actually used by the crop that season. The controlled release fertilizer can avoid the above loss through the control of the outer envelope material so that the fertilizer efficiency utilization rate reached more than 80%.
Wow! That is to say, application of slow and controlled release fertilizer can increase the utilization rate of fertilizer by 50%. The utilization is really good.
Yes, and the effect of increasing production is obvious. By controlling nutrient release through the envelope, it can make the nutrient supply of crops smooth and regular and avoid crop defertilizer and growth. Meanwhile, slow and controlled release fertilizer saves time and effort. With some quality controlled release fertilizers, most crops can be fertilized only once a season or need not be fertilized throughout life. It saves time and effort, and the effect of sterilization and insect repellent is obvious. The controlled release fertilizer coating material is made of polysulfide compounds, which can kill bacteria and repel insects. Moreover, some special coating fertilizers after long-term use improve the empty shell after the release of soil nutrients. It can store water and preserve moisture, and can play the function of ventilation and fertilizer. This loosens up long cemented soil.
Well, after Mr. Yu's introduction, we really have a deeper understanding of slow and controlled release fertilizer. So what are the types of slow and controlled release fertilizers?
Slow and controlled release fertilizers can be divided into 4 categories according to principle. The first is the biochemical approach, such as adding urease inhibitors or nitrification inhibitors. The second one is the physical approach, such as microcapsule method, polymer-coated fertilizer, sulfur-coated urea, encapsulated fertilizer-coated urea, etc. Integral approach, diffusion control matrix fertilizer, nutrient absorption matrix fertilizer. The third is chemical approach, such as urea aldehyde, isobutylene diurea, and so on. The fourth approach is the combination of biochemistry and physical envelope, such as adding inhibitor combined with physical envelope controlled release fertilizer, adding inhibitor promoting agent, and physical envelope combined with controlled release fertilizer, etc.
Well, Mr. Yu, could you please introduce to us some common slow and controlled release fertilizers and how to apply them?
Okay. Common slow-acting nitrogenous fertilizers include urea formaldehyde, butylene urea, isobutylene urea, oxamide, thiacoteurea, coated urea, and nitrogenous fertilizers with urease inhibitors or nitrification inhibitors. Urea formaldehyde, butylene urea is often used as base fertilizer one-time application. The application should be combined with the application of some quick-acting nitrogen fertilizer to avoid poor plant growth due to insufficient nitrogen supply in the early stage. Butylene urea is suitable for acid soil application, especially suitable for fruit trees, vegetables, and other plants, and is often used as base fertilizer one-time application. Isobutyl urea does not need to be incorporated with other fast-acting nitrogen fertilizers when used on grasses, lawns, or ornamental plants. When it is used in rice, wheat, and vegetables, a certain amount of quick-acting nitrogen fertilizer can be added.
What about common U-phosphate fertilizers?
Common new phosphate fertilizers are polyphosphate, glycerol phosphate, amide phosphate ester, and so on. Polyphosphate is as effective as orthophosphate when applied to acidic soils. Its application is superior to orthophosphate on neutral and alkaline soils, but its after effect exceeds that of orthophosphate, and often used as a base fertilizer one-time application. It reduces the fixation of phosphorus. Liquid fertilizer is still soluble after adding trace elements. It can be gradually decomposed into orthophosphate in the soil. A single application of sufficient quantity can meet the needs of the whole growth period of the plant. Its application on acid soil should not be fixed by iron and aluminum. It decomposes easily in calcareous soils and has high availability. Glycerol phosphate contains available phosphorus and phosphorus pentoxide 41% to 46%. It is soluble in water, easy to apply, and can be spread. It can also be applied to the soil in combination with irrigation water, where it is hydrolyzed by phosphates to orthophosphate and then slowly made available to plants.
What about potash?
At present, there are few studies on long-acting potassium fertilizer. The common long-acting potassium fertilizers are potassium metaphosphate and potassium polyphosphate. Both of them are insoluble in water and are often applied once as a base fertilizer.
Okay, thank you very much for your sharing. You have given us a thorough understanding of slow and controlled release fertilizers. Finally, let's summarize what we have learned today. We studied the concept, characteristics, classification, and application of slow and controlled release fertilizers. We also know that the application of slow and controlled release fertilizers has the advantages of saving time and effort, improving the soil, and protecting the environment. We must study technology hard and keep forging ahead to contribute our own strength to promote the green development of fertilizer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.